let's answer a few checking account questions, okay? So this is Helen. She had a checking account balance of, and this is kind of weird, these don't flow together very well because they're in two separate units, but that's the way the pacing went. She had a balance of $546.26. She wrote a check to pay gasoline for $28.34 and a check to the grocery store for $164.32. What's the new balance that she'll have in her register? So when you write checks, does that add to the balance you have, or does it subtract from the balance you have? Because these are pretty straightforward questions if you understand how a checking account works. Yeah, it subtracts from your balance. So all we have to do to find this answer is take her balance of $546.26 and subtract both of those checks. Good, yep, $353.60. Yes, you may be going, wow, this is nothing like we were just doing. And it's not. We're in a new unit. Okay. This one is kind of going to bring our algebra in once again. This is Marcella. She deposits for $842, and it was in a combination of cash and checks. She does remember that the checks she deposited were 2 times the amount of the cash. What amount of checks did she deposit? So this one is asking us a little bit about algebra. Or you can really, in this one, you could do trial and error until you have the right answer. But anytime they set something up like this, you're going to use a little algebra or a little thinking it out. Okay, I don't know what that says. Oh, takes too darn long. Yes. Okay, got it. Okay, so Josie thinks $561.33. So I'm going to write this out the way I would write it, and we'll check that. So we know that she made deposits, and the total of those deposits was $842. The checks she deposited were 2 times the amount of the cash. So let's make the letter C stand for, checks and cash. I'm going to make myself a little key up here so that I know my C is the cash. Okay, so the checks and the cash together, we're adding them together. Okay, but we have the cash, and the checks were 2 times that amount. So the checks would be twice C. Does that make sense? So this is my checks. They were twice as much as the cash, but I had to add all of them together. Okay, so we have the checks and the cash. So 2, twice the cash, plus the cash itself, came together to make $842. So if you recall, we would add those two together. They're both C's, so we can put them together, 2 and 1 more. Altogether we have 3 C's, or 3 times the amount of the cash, because we have the cash itself plus 2 more times that. Are we still good? Okay, so then to solve this, we have 3 times the C. If we divide both sides by 3, that will tell us how much cash we had. Because remember, C stood for our cash. I get $280.67. Yeah, you're okay. Okay, so this is our cash. I know I set it up in the beginning so I would remember that C stood for cash. They want to know what's the amount of the checks. Okay, so go back. We found the cash so far, and it said the checks were 2 times the amount of the cash. So if we'll take our $280.67 in cash, the checks are twice that amount. Okay, and again, these questions, good job, 561.34. These questions are taken from the workbook, okay, and I may change the numbers a little bit so that we're not doing the 34 cents in cash, or excuse me, checks, and then 280.67 in cash. All right, any questions?